Webinar is started.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the BIGtoken Corporate Update webcast. With me on the call today is Lou Kerner, Chief Executive Officer, who will provide an overview of BIGtoken, and we will open the call for questions at the end. To ask a question, please submit it in the Q&A panel on Zoom. Before I turn the call over to Lou, I would like to remind you that this webcast and presentation may contain forward-looking statements made pursuant to the Safe Harbor provisions of the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Such forward-looking statements relate to future, not past, events and may often be identified by words such as expect, anticipate, intend, plan, believe, seek, or will. Forward-looking statements by their nature address matters that are to different degrees uncertain. Specific risks and uncertainties that could cause our actual results to differ materially from those expressed in our forward-looking statements include risks inherent in our business and our need for future capital. Actual results may differ materially from the results anticipated in these forward-looking statements. Additional information on potential factors that could affect our results and other risks and uncertainties are detailed from time to time in periodic reports filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission, including its annual report on Form 10-K for the year ended December 31st, 2020, its quarterly reports on Form 10-Q, as well as in other reports filed with the SEC. We do not assume any obligation to update any forward-looking statements. It is now my pleasure to turn the call over to Lou Kerner, Chief Executive Officer.
Okay, thanks, Natalie, and thank you to everyone for joining us today for BIGtoken's first investor call as a public company. I'm Lou Kerner, CEO of BIGtoken, and I'm joined on the call today by George Stella, Chief Revenue Officer, and Richard Taub, our interim CFO. It's been just 10 weeks since our reverse merger became effective and I became CEO of BIGtoken. It's been a whirlwind. On the call today, we'll share a little bit of history of BIGtoken and where it came from. For context, but the focus of the call today is on where BIGtoken is today and where BIGtoken's going tomorrow. And after my formal remarks, I'll answer investor questions, alternating between questions that have been mailed in and questions that will be taken live from the Q&A on Zoom. That'll be run by our Director of Marketing, Natalie Santos. But I'd like to start the call today with mentioning kind of the two biggest surprises I've had since joining BIGtoken. The first surprise is how much tailwind there is at our backs in terms of the regulatory environment and the impact it's having on the data market's focus on first-party data aggregation and compliance, which is our core business. And the second surprise is how strong the team is at BIGtoken, including the 40 colleagues we have in Mexicali, 24 of which are developers. In fact, I'll be in Mexicali tomorrow for my third visit. And with that, let's walk through the presentation. So we'll start with a brief history of BIGtoken, starting with the passage of the General Data Protection Regulation, or the GDPR, in 2016 by the EU, which is really the genesis of BIGtoken and its focus on compliant first-party data. The BIGtoken app was rolled out in beta in 2018 and passed 1 million registered users just 7 months later. Now let's move on to where BIGtoken stands today. So our mission is clear: to enable people to own and monetize their data. It's simple. It's in everyone's email signature at BIGtoken. And it's an embodiment of our core belief that privacy is a fundamental human right. And it's great that regulators from around the world are rewriting laws to reflect this belief. And that's why we have monthly webinars to drive awareness of the issue. And so today, our business, we acquire data via one-to-one relationships with millions of consumers who opt in to receive cash or other rewards. We do this via our app. Today, we can track more than 4,000 attributes per user. We take that data and anonymize it. We then sell that anonymized data to marketers to help make their advertising more efficient. And we share that revenue with our users. That's what our business is today. And we get that data by asking our users some questions. We have them take surveys, and by having them connect us directly to their bank accounts, credit card accounts, social media accounts, and such. And our users love our approach to their personal data, as they're provided transparency, control, and most importantly, compensation for the use of their data. Marketers love our approach as well, as can be seen by this impressive roster of clients, and they love our results, as witnessed by the fact that to date, our retention stands at about 100%. But it's a competitive marketplace out there. We think we stack up well, but we're not standing still. The BIGtoken you see today is evolving rapidly and will look different tomorrow. First, I just want to touch on capital structure. Our name change and symbol change are in process, as is a reverse split. We would hope that both would be effective by May, after which we'll focus on another larger raise. And we're looking at our long-term goal of uplisting to the NASDAQ. From a product standpoint, we are very excited about BIGtoken 3.0, the next version of the BIGtoken app, which is currently, the current BIGtoken app is the same version that was rolled out in September of 2018. We're currently tracking to a September launch of BIGtoken 3.0, and we believe it's going to be a quantum leap forward for the product. It's faster, more scalable, and most notably, its modular structure is going to enable us to rapidly iterate the product as we refine and enhance it. At the same time as we're preparing for the next iteration of our app, we're building the next iteration of our tech platform as we move from crypto adjacent to crypto centric. Two aspects of our crypto strategy include enabling our users to get their rewards in crypto if they choose, by enabling what we call, thus enabling what we call value delta, which I'll explain in a moment. And the other aspect we want to highlight is our planned use of blockchain technology to provide the trust and transparency consumers and marketers are increasingly demanding. Today, most of our users take the rewards in dollar. Every dollar we share with users costs us, by definition, $1. By enabling our users to choose cryptocurrencies starting with Bitcoin instead of cash, we'll begin to create value delta. In other words, the people who choose to receive Bitcoin as a reward are doing so because they believe, in fact, that it's more valuable to them than $1. And that difference in value between the dollar we offered them and the value that they perceive by taking the Bitcoin and in the future other cryptocurrencies is that value delta. And we believe that cryptocurrency and digital assets, including NFTs, are going to provide all kinds of opportunities for us to spend $1 while rewarding our users in value that they consider to be far greater than $1. And more of that we'll talk about in future calls. And if our users want to receive Bitcoin as a reward, they'll have to get a digital wallet. And we'll be providing that as well, as we'll give them opportunities to put other assets in their digital wallets, like stablecoins. This morning, we put out a press release announcing our partnership with Casper, a decentralized Layer 1 protocol that was the brainchild of an Ethereum core developer who solved for the low throughput and high gas fees that continues to plague Ethereum. Together with Casper, we're going to build a data privacy protocol, an iteration of the Casper blockchain, optimized for data storage, sharing, and monetization. Over time, BIGtoken will migrate parts of our data to the data privacy protocol, as well as our tools, enabling our users to monetize that data. And we're inviting the rest of the world to join us on this journey via the Data Privacy Protocol Alliance, or the DPPA. The plan for the Data Privacy Protocol to be, we're planning for the Data Privacy Protocol to be decentralized and governed by the Data Protocol Privacy Alliance, made up of all the players in the personal data ecosystem, from data aggregators to brands to agencies and data privacy advocates like Brittany Kaiser and her Own Your Data Foundation. We believe we're moving to the world where there are going to be 5 or 7 major data hubs. And we believe that the best way to ensure that we're part of one of those hubs is to build it ourselves, or as part of a team, and do it as a collective community of players in the data ecosystem instead of just building it by ourselves. And we're looking for other members, founding members of the DPPA who share our vision. And the first meeting for the DPPA is planned for May 4th, and we look forward to having 20 to 25 founding members at that first meeting. And you can visit the DPPA website at thedppalliance.com. And that ends my formal remarks. And with that, I'd like to pass it back to Natalie Santos, who can run the Q&A part of the call. Natalie?
Thank you, Lou. So as Lou mentioned before, we have some questions that were emailed in, and we will also take any Q&As live. So if you have a question, please submit it in the Q&A portion on Zoom. So we will take the first question. This was an email question from Mark. Does the move to the Casper network set BIGtoken up to create a rival to Brave browser and the basic attention token?
Okay, well, we have an ever-evolving roadmap to build out our tech stack around our mission to enable our users to own and monetize their data. And a browser optimized for privacy and monetization would certainly be consistent with that mission. So,
okay. We also had a question from Lloyd. How important are building relationships with other companies for BIGtoken? Specifically thinking of the exciting announcement of BIGtoken and Casper, what opportunities do these relationships open up?
So thanks for the question. We're in the database, we're in the data business. And the interesting thing about data is it's more valuable the more you have, or the more it's paired with other data. So from that perspective, partnerships are very important to our ability to optimize the value of the data that we collect. And aggregating and leveraging deep partnerships across the tech stack is a strategic focus of ours, as can be seen by the formation of the DPPA, where over time we think that'll lead to literally hundreds of partnerships with other players in the tech ecosystem.
Thank you. We had multiple people ask about the Red Diamond deal and how it got structured. Can you please address this?
Sure. Red Diamond is a BIGtoken shareholder, and they've been discussed in previous filings. And they've also been a longtime shareholder of Schrax, our parent company. So it was natural that they'd be involved in BIGtoken. And since the agreement with Red Diamond occurred prior to my involvement with BIGtoken, and it's a little complex, I point investors to the filings where the transactions have been detailed.
Thank you. Ben is asking, any timeline on when BIGtoken will adopt and start paying out in Bitcoin, or a timeline on the wallet being added to the app?
Sure. I'd love to give dates for those, as I think those are both very exciting moves forward for BIGtoken, but there's a lot of complexity, for lack of a better word, around both of those products, and I think we're moving fast, but we still don't have dates on when they'll be rolled out.
Okay. We're getting questions about what are the current shares outstanding.
Sure. So there was an 8K filed on March 18th, I believe, that detailed this. There are currently 158 billion shares outstanding, about 105 billion common shares from the B and C preferred shares will eventually be there. 55 billion shares in warrants and options. So in total, that gets us to about 318 billion shares fully diluted.
Thank you. Another question from Ben. Has the paperwork been submitted for the ticker change? And if so, what will the new symbol be?
So that's in process as well. I think we're asking for BTKN as the ticker symbol. Again, there are some different things that we're working on in the corporate structure and, that I mentioned earlier in the presentation, and those are all in process.
Okay, a question from Rich. For the larger round you mentioned earlier, how much are you looking to raise to fund all these initiatives?
Well, we're in the process right now. We hired an interim CMO and we've begun doing some kind of initial growth hacking to try and get us an understanding, deeper understanding of our customer acquisition costs. And as we get a deeper understanding of that, and continue to understand what our lifetime value is, the bigger the difference between those two is, the more money that we'll be able to raise. So we think we have an opportunity to build a really valuable company, and oftentimes it takes a lot of capital to do. And we look forward to communicating more on this in the future.
Thank you. Mark is asking, can you please explain the astronomical amount of authorized shares, and does the size of the AS have to do with the BIGtoken crypto rollout?
Sure. So, the large amount of shares, and the share structure kind of existed simultaneously with me becoming CEO. And it's obviously unusual, but it's easily addressed with a reverse split. And so, as I mentioned earlier, the reverse split is in process, and look forward to sharing more about that with everyone soon.
Okay. Question from Michael. I would love to see your app on every platform like Amazon, Facebook, etc. What plans do you have regarding platform placement?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously the biggest challenge as CEO is you presented with so many great opportunities, particularly at a company like BIGtoken, and so you have to obviously balance taking advantage of those opportunities with staying focused, and so that really limits our ability to go outside of where our focus is really now today without hiring additional people. So I've kind of outlined what the near-term focus is, and over time as we grow, we'll be able to put things like moving to other platforms on the roadmap.
Thank you. Question from Mark. What is BIGtoken's crypto play? Is it a BIGtoken coin, an NFT?
I think I've outlined what the play is in crypto, what our near-term plans are in terms of, first starting with enabling our users to get rewarded in Bitcoin and stablecoin, and to begin development of the data privacy protocol and the DPPA, the governing body of the protocol. We think that there's going to be tremendous opportunity over time in crypto. It's the very beginning of what I believe is the greatest thing to happen in the history of humanity, as I have on my Twitter profile. So I think it's going to be very similar to and present the same kind of opportunity that the advent of the internet did in 93, 94. And I think we're well positioned to take advantage of that. And but we're going to stay very focused along the way.
Great. That concludes all the questions that we've gotten. If anyone else has any more questions, please submit them. We won't be able to get to all of them today, but we can definitely email you with any responses.
Okay, and I guess we're good. So Natalie,
we have one more. We just got a couple. What do you say to early investors with the huge share raise and now reverse split?
So the company, as it is, so there was FPVD, which we still are before the name change. The shares were, part of the merger with BIGtoken. And I'm not, the FPVD, and the reason why people were investors in that, I guess they made their decisions based on the information that they had. What I do know is we are building what I think is going to be a super valuable company, working hard every day to do that, and doing that for the success of the shares in the long term.
Thank you. And the last one, will this recording be available later?
Natalie, will it be available later?
Yes, it will. We will upload it to the investor relations page on our website. It's bigtoken.com/investors.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, everybody who dialed in. And we look forward to talking with you again after the first quarter earnings.